Tommy said you was ornery all day. Hey.
Yes, he was.
Hey.
He always goes in there.
You been ornery all day? Huh? You was? Anyways, I got pretty much every part I need to put my Scion together. Unpainted, but still, I can put it together. Come on, let's go out into the garage. Come on. Huh? What? So let's go out into the garage. It's a little chilly out here. Got 3 main parts that I needed for the Scion. Actually, I got all the parts I needed. The only thing I did not get is the rear hatch struts. That's the only thing I don't have right now. So I ended up getting better prices on stuff. On eBay, I found a brand new hood for this, unpainted, $188 shipped. That was great, and it's in perfect condition. There is not a mark on the thing. The bumper, I got it for $116 shipped, and this is one of the ones that was folded up, and it was only folded on this side, and I heated it with the heat gun, and as you can see, it's in perfect shape. Now the core support, it just came today in that box. Why would you not unbolt these end pieces? I don't understand. But they were both folded down. Like, both of them were folded down along the sides. So, that bracket that it bolts to right here, well, you can see it's a little bit kind of bent right here. But that's the only thing that's out of place. Besides that, everything else looks like it's in really good shape. So, we need to throw her in the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unbolt these top pieces and these side pieces, and we're going to see how it fits in without them on. And also, I guess we're going to unbolt this top piece because that makes it easier to slide in. You got to slide this up underneath the radiator, and then you put the cap down on. So I guess we'll get to doing that. Where's the old one? Here it is. I think, well, I gotta throw these bushings on, which is no big deal. And then there's a couple plastic shields here I have to put on, which is no big deal. So, go ahead and switch some of this stuff over. And then, I wonder if we shouldn't just prime this. I think I might put some primer on this, because it's going to be black and everything else when this is like a primer gray underneath. Yeah, everything underneath is like a primer gray. I did keep some bolts and stuff there. I'm not going to need those. But I want to get this thing, I want to get it together. I want to get it mostly together. So I think I'm going to go ahead and unbolt the stuff off of this that I'm not going to use, and then I'm going to go ahead and shoot primer on this. And then it's going to take a little while for that to dry. So I think I'll go ahead and service this, and then it should be dry by then, and then we can throw this in the car. But it's going to look a lot better primed and not stick out being all black. Now, as you can see, I went around and scuffed this, and I just kind of lightly scuffed it. You don't have to get carried away. It's not like this is a painted part, and it's not going to be out in the out. I mean, like, it's behind everything, so, you know, you're not going to get, like, stone chips and stuff on it. I'm going to use self-etching primer first, because there are some areas of bare metal. I'm just going to put a light coat of self-etching primer on it, and then I'm going to switch over to my TranStar and give it a good coat after that.
Now, it doesn't look too bad. I need time to dry. I did find more stuff bent on this, but they're still not a big deal. This tab right here should be straight as it's curled in, and so is this one, as it is curled in as well. So we're gonna have to straighten that. This is bent. This one's straight over here. But what can you do? I'm not sending it back, that's for sure, especially after putting primer on it. But it doesn't look too hateful. So anyways, let's get this thing up in the air. This tire has a slow leak in it. I can't get it to stay pumped up. This tire is holding air, so that's good. But I'm gonna push this thing forward, get it up, start changing fluids. Oh, the battery's still hooked up. So I guess we'll see if if it's gonna hold a charge, because I left the battery hooked up. I'm gonna start it up, let it run for just a couple minutes to get warmed up. That helps the oil drain out. And hey, she has power. Let's see if she starts. Oh yeah, the battery's good on this thing. So I'm gonna let it run a couple minutes.
Well, guys, maybe this car wasn't such a good deal. I just found a big problem on this. I am not going to fix it the right way. I'm going to tell you that because of the mileage and everything. First off, this fender, I got to looking at it more, and there are runs on it. This is the passenger side one I said was replaced. Down here near the bottom. See if I can get the light to hit it right. There's some runs right there. And then up there, if I can get the light to hit it, there's runs up there. That's not the big issue. The big issue is underneath here. I got to looking at this and seeing a little bit of oil right here. And then this. That is JB Weld on the lower, or that's the upper oil pan. That's a big job. But what I am going to do right now is clean this up really well. I was sanding. I took some took a wire wheel to it, just kind of cleaned it off to look at it. I thought it was aluminum welded actually, and it's not. That is JB Weld. It is, and it is leaking a little bit, I think. Now if I can do this right, what happened, I'll be honest with you, what I think happened is somebody was running this thing hard and the axle broke, and it broke the case right here in the process, because this is where the axle bolts onto the top of the engine block and the lower oil, or the upper oil pan aluminum section. So I'm going to try to get that off there, get that unbolted and moved out of the way so I can see what I'm working with. But you can see there's a little bit of oil leaking around it. I want to see how bad it is. And well, I do not have a 12.30 millimeter socket. I got everything unbolted on this mount. This axle can come out, then I'll be able to assess the damage a little better. But I need to get this axle nut out, and I cannot do it right now. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Undo the lower ball joint nuts here, swing it out, and then we can get that axle out of there. Alright, so the axle is, well, I have it like up out of the way. Cleaned everything up, and as you can see, it looked like they did a pretty decent job, but where they, hold on a second, let me get this light up in here. Where they failed at is right in this area. As you can see, it's like they were trying to force it in there with a screwdriver or something. Anyways, it's leaking at this spot right here. Everywhere else is pretty good. I am going to grind off as much of this JB Weld as possible and see what I'm working with, and find a crack. I'm actually going to grind it down a little bit. And yes, I know this is not the proper fix for this, but hear me out. I'm going to be driving the thing. It doesn't bother me. So I'm going to do that first, and if that doesn't prove sufficient, then I'm going to pull this whole cover off and take it to where I work and have them aluminum weld it. It is cast aluminum. You can weld cast aluminum. It's a hit or miss. But the timing cover, the accessories, a lot of stuff has to come off to get this upper oil pan off. It's connected to the transmission. The exhaust is bolted to it. The AC compressor. It's a big job to take this upper oil pan off. So that's why, as of right now, I'm going to see what I can do with the JB Weld. What I was worried about was, my guess is this thing was in an accident before on this side, obviously. I think it snapped an axle. And I think it was a really long time ago, because this is not a new axle. And it's, you know, whatever. But I think it was a really long time ago, but I think it snapped the axle and it hit the engine block and cracked it right there. What I was worried about was that it was one of these bolt holes where, the carrier bearing bolts onto it, and that's not what it is. So it's not anything structural. There's not going to be any pressure on it right here. So I'm gonna grind this out the best I can and see what I come up with. We'll see what it looks like after I grind it out. Well, it's a little worse than I thought. So, and we're gonna take it out. There it is. Still not finished grinding all the stuff off, but that's the hole they had patched, and it's actually cracked down around here, and it also extends up around here. So, and whenever I was grinding in here, there was a chunk of JB Weld and it went in. So I want to go ahead, we're going to pull the pan, we're going to start working on these bolts. Yeah, so we're going to get this thing down out of here. It looks like I can take it down out with the exhaust on. I don't see where the exhaust is going to get in the way, but this is just a pain. That's all. I can tell you right now, there's no way I'm getting this done tonight. This is going to be a long job. This whole timing cover has to come off because it has to be sealed. And I can't just take those bolts out and then pull that pan down. It's just not going to work that way. I have to, all of these bolts out of this timing cover, take the belt off. The AC compressor has to drop down. It is not an easy task. So I'm kind of like trying to assess it where I can get at everything, and there's just no easy way to do it. Honestly, I don't really want to do it, but I ought to take the radiator off. I really don't want to take the condenser off because I don't want to break the seal on it. But it would give me a lot more room to the front of the engine since I have everything already tore off. Oh my. Well, let me get this oil pan down out and we'll see what it looks like inside the engine. First off, I'm glad I pulled the pan. This was definitely the right decision. I think they had this down out and patched it with JB Weld. Right there is the little piece that I was grinding on. This was on the inside of the case. So, like, how do you get that much JB Weld on the inside of that case? And it looks like it has fingerprint marks in it and stuff. So they actually had this motor apart and they chose to fix it with JB Weld. That is, I don't even know. Like, honestly, if I'm going that far, I'm taking it to a machine shop and getting it welded back together at the least, if not replacing the whole thing. So that wouldn't have came out through the drain hole, so that's at least, you know, I said I was just going to patch it. This was the right decision. So, yeah, I'm just going to continue working here. There's a tray right here that's on the bottom of the engine. All that's going to have to come out of there. It's not a big deal. Right here is a pickup tube. It's plastic. And I'm wondering, I mean, these engines last forever, and I'm sitting here thinking, should I replace the oil pump, which the oil pump's going to be under the timing cover. So I don't know. I think this engine's it's healthy. I just need to fix this issue. Well, still working on this setup here. Here's another nice little souvenir I found in there. This was in the screen on the oil pickup tube. This is a chunk of that aluminum case. The chunk that is probably missing. That's probably the size of that hole. Yeah, it's pretty close. If you would grind that out, if it wouldn't have ground it out, that's probably it. That's probably the chunk. So I'm already like, these are counterbalancer shafts, and they're gear driven. Now I'm assuming, and I don't know because I can't find it online for this particular model, that both of these, you see how there's a little circle on there, and then there's that circle on there. I'm assuming that at top dead center, they should line up with that line right there perfectly. So, but yeah, it wasn't where it was supposed to be, or I mean, I'm not on top dead center, so it's, you know, yeah, fun stuff. So I'll have to figure that out before we put it back together. Maybe we'll just delete it. I see online where people do that. I think it's stupid. I want a smooth running engine. This is very heavy, I will tell you that. I gotta get the belt off. I don't know if I can get that pulley off. I'm gonna try. This is just turning in from one nightmare to another to another. I have to take the valve cover off so that I can get the timing cover off, but I also have to take this engine mount off so that the timing cover can come off. This is how we have to fix it. So, oh my lord. And then everything has to be sealed up perfect whenever you put it back together, or you're going to have oil leaks. So, this is going to take me a while to do. I already have like all the bolts around that pan off, except for the ones that are by the timing cover. And I also took the bottom two bolts out of the AC compressor. So, I need to get to the top two. And then after I can move it out of the way, then I have to take the bracket off so that I can get to the bolts that are, two of the bolts from that bracket are bolted to the engine block, and two of them are bolted to the upper part of the oil pan. So, got to get that. And I'm telling you, it's just one thing after another after another. It's crazy. Well, the engine itself looks pretty healthy. These things got a pretty beefy timing chain in them. But, yeah, everything looks good. The valve cover gasket actually looks really good, too. And all I'm going to do is clean it up, and I'm going to reuse it. Now, there's some other little gaskets that go in here, and they're stuck to the cover. We might have to put new ones in. I don't know yet. They're getting a little bit hard, but they ain't too hateful. So, they're still rubbery. Okay, we need to get new gasket. I just tore this one. So, it's going to be a little bit till we get this back together anyway, so, yeah, we just got to remember. You know what? They probably come with a valve cover gasket, and it's same with the spark plug thing. I'll probably just go ahead and do those while I'm at it. Now, there's no gasket for the timing cover. Man, that's going to be a pain in the butt. So, here's where I'm at this point. Got most of the bolts out here. I still have some to get, and I got to get up at the top to get them. I got the AC compressor bracket bolts loose. This timing cover just has to come off. And I think I have to take the tensioner off, and then that motor mount, and then it's ready to come off. All the bolts are out of the upper pan, so it should come off pretty simple after this. But the timing chain looks to be loose to me, so I gotta check tensioners and stuff once I get in there. We might be doing some timing stuff. Oh my, I tell you. And if anybody knows how to time the counterbalancer on these, I'm gonna go in and buy a service manual, but I haven't found anything on this setup like this. I'm finding for the older Scions, I'm not finding a lot for these, honestly, for the newer style ones. So I don't know what's going on, but yeah, this is sucky. Well, I'm calling it right here for tonight. It's getting late, and this thing is kicking my butt. I did order a new valve cover gasket with those new solenoid gaskets. It's the VVT solenoid gaskets. I got the whole kit. It comes with everything. And what else? I ordered an oil pan. This doesn't have an oil pan gasket on it. It just has gasket sealer, but they have oil pan gaskets, so I went ahead and ordered one of those. Next morning, just worked on a car that I built a long time ago. It's a Malibu, and I got all the parts for it at Johnny's. You pull it on all you can carry for $65. That was a deal. But his front bumper, he must have hit something that was falling off, and he said everywhere he went they remounted it and it kept falling off. So I put some extra screws in it. It ain't gonna fall off now, I guarantee it. There it is, if you guys remember it. Anyways, this cover's coming out today. I only have a couple hours, and then I'm going out with some friends. So, but honestly, I have the motor mount and a couple bolts in the timing cover, and then I can pull it off, and then I can pull the lower part off. So it's not going to take me that long.
So what we thought was going to be a happy day, and we were just going to slap some parts on it and maybe take her for a test spin, turned into a nightmare.
So you going to go out with your kitty buddies and drink again, or no?
We need some milk!
This is honestly worse than pulling the Subaru motor, but we're going to get her. Like I said, I got to drop this thing down. What we have left is motor mount and a couple bolts and the timing cover, and then we ought to be able to pull everything off. It would have gave me a lot more room if I would have removed the condenser and radiator. I just pulled the AC compressor. Well, it's not bolted in. It's just hanging right there right now. But this bracket's loose now. I can't really move it, but yeah, we're ready. I got all the bolts out of the upper oil pan. As you can see, all these bolts are out, but there's a stud right there. I could pull that stud and then try to pull the plate out. I just think it's going to be a lot easier just to pull the whole timing cover. Plus, I want to look at the tensioner and stuff on this. When I said I wanted to rebuild a car for myself, this is not what I had in mind at all. I didn't really want to rebuild it from the ground up, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to make things right, and that is what I'm doing. Yes, I could have just slapped more JB Weld in there. I could have tried to do my best to, make it fit and stuff, or make it seal up and stuff like that, but in the end of the day, it's always in the back of your mind, what if that blows out and it's just going to blow oil everywhere? Then you're broke down. and I don't like being broke down. So I'm gonna take this to a machine shop and have it welded, because it's gonna be way cheaper than getting a used one online. Is the cheapest one I found is $190. It's gonna be way cheaper than that to have somebody weld this up. I'll clean the material up, have it prepped and ready for them, and then all they got to do, I'll probably have them add a piece of aluminum on the inside and weld it all in there, and then weld it from the outside and get it all sealed up nice and good. But as it sits, the seals on the oil pump are really hard, so I'm going to go ahead and order those oil pump seals, and I'm not replacing the oil pump. The car runs fine, and like I said, the last one I did has like almost 300,000 miles on it, and it's never been done, so I'm not really worried about it on this engine. And yet, I know a lot of you mentioned about me using the carbon fiber hood on this. This is a different model year. I don't know if you knew it. This is a 2007. 2011 is when they changed the whole body of the car. Everything's different. Like, every panel is different on this car. Hood, fenders, everything's different. So this will not work. And here's a good example. You see how the headlight part is cut out on these? That's not how these are. These are totally different shape, different headlights. Well, you can see on that one. See how it's just a rounded shape. There's no headlight cut out. So these hoods are different. Can't use that, unfortunately, or I would. Well, guys, I am without a doubt, like, I'd say 90% sure, this is why this person relisted it in the auction. They didn't want to get into that. The oil looked really clean, like it was fairly fresh. So I'm thinking they bought it, we're gonna fix it, and they went to change the oil, but then in the moment they found that, and that fix was not something that they did. That's been on there for years, I could tell, with the dirt and the gunk built up on it and everything. It's been like that for a long time. And it probably would have lasted for a long time if I would have left it like that. But that's just not... It's not how we do it here at Unwrapped. So if you'll excuse me, I have lots of gasket scraping to do. Lots of cleaning, lots of gasket scraping, and parts to order. So, if you guys will excuse me, I'm going to get back to work. So... if you haven't yet, check out my Teespring page. I have lots of merch. Should be below the video or on the side. You can click on that. Get yourself some merch. Consider subscribing. Give me a like if you like the video. If you don't, hey, give me a thumbs down. I don't give a... But anyways, as always, we'll see you on the next episode of Unwrapped.